Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Council meeting. The Local Government Act 2020, Section 25, states the election of the Mayor must be chaired by the Chief Executive Officer. Part B, Section 4 of the Governance Rules states that the Chief Executive Officer must facilitate the election of the Mayor in accordance with the provisions of the Act. Once the Mayor has been elected, they will assume the position of Chair. We will adjourn the meeting for photos at the conclusion of the election of the Deputy Mayor. Can I ask that the gallery please remain seated until the meeting is adjourned? Just a mobile telephone reminder, please turn off all mobile telephones, or in the case of an emergency, please advise the Chair to switch to silent mode. The Statement of Acknowledgement. We acknowledge the Bunurong as the traditional owners and custodians of the lands and waters and pay respect to their elders past, present and emerging. The Councillor Statement. And ask Councillor John Tenby to read.
All members of this Council pledge to the Bass Coast Shire community to consider every item listed on this agenda, based on the individual merits of each item, without bias or prejudice, by maintaining an open mind and disregarding councillors' personal interests so as to avoid any conflict with our public duty. Any councillor having a conflict of interest in an item will make a proper prior disclosure to the meeting and will not participate in the debate or vote on the issue.
Thank you, Councillor Tenby. Item 1, present and apologies. There are no apologies for today's meeting. 2, declarations of interest. Are there any declarations of interest from councillors? There being none, we will move on. Item 3, confirmation of minutes. 3.1, council meeting held on the 15th of October 2025. We will now confirm the minutes of previous meeting held on the 15th of October 2025. Can I have a mover for this motion? Councillor Bell, a seconder. Councillor Tenby. Can I put that to the vote? That motion is carried. Mayor and Councillor reports. All councillors' monthly reports will be included in the meeting minutes. I will now invite Councillor Halstead and Councillor Tessari to say a few brief words to reflect on their terms as Mayor and Deputy Mayor. Might start with Councillor Tessari.
Thank you, Greg, Mr CEO. Firstly, I'd like to thank the councillors, my fellow councillors, for the support that they've shown me throughout this last 12 months as Deputy Mayor. It's been a big 12 months. There's been a lot of supporting of the Mayor that's taken place. There's been a lot of things that probably go a little bit unnoticed, as the Deputy Mayor role does. I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed representing the community to certainly the best of my ability. I congratulate the Mayor on the job that she's done. She has really been quite inspirational as far as getting around to as many community events and community members as possible. And I thank the staff here and the community for their support of me as Deputy Mayor as well.
Thank you, Councillor Tessari. And I'll now invite Councillor Halstead to have the final say.
Thank you, Mr Box. Look, nothing is ever brief with me, as we all know in this chamber, so I did make a few notes, and I just wanted to say, as this will be my last report for the 24-25 mayoral term, I'd like to state that serving as Mayor has been both an honour and a privilege, a role that has allowed me to witness firsthand the passion, generosity and community spirit that make Bass Coast so special. Together with our community, we've shaped the Council Plan 2025 to 2029 and Community Vision 2045, 2 cornerstone documents that set a clear direction for the years ahead. They reflect our shared aspirations for a connected, sustainable and thriving Bass Coast where everyone has the opportunity to belong and participate. Our community panel played a vital role in shaping these plans, offering thoughtful and forward-looking insights that will guide decision-making for years to come. I want to sincerely thank every person who contributed through workshops, surveys or community conversations for helping ensure these plans truly reflect our community's voice. We've also adopted several key strategies that support this vision, including the Healthy, Safe and Resilient Bass Coast Plan, Disability Action Plan, Domestic Animal Management Plan and Rating Strategy. Each reflects the values and priorities of our community and reinforces the importance of meaningful engagement in shaping the decisions that affect our future. Advocacy has remained at the heart of Council's work. We continue to champion major priorities such as the former Wonthaggi Secondary College site, a once-in-a-generation opportunity. Our push for modern aquatic facilities in both Wonthaggi and Phillip Island also remains strong, ensuring our growing community has access to safe, inclusive and contemporary recreation spaces. I'd like to thank the CEO, Greg Box, along with the executive leadership team and support staff who have worked with us to assist navigating through this power of work over the last 12 months. They have done so with a shared passion, offering frank advice and always with a high standard of professionalism. A special thank you to the wonderful Rhonda Jackson, who exemplifies the true meaning of Mayor and Councillor support. We are incredibly lucky to have her running around behind the scenes to ensure we have what we need to be at our best. She does an amazing job. To Jade Glenn and Nicola Glassy, who have also made my role easier by assisting with governance and communications, thank you, ladies. One of the greatest privileges of this role has been working alongside a dedicated and capable team of councillors. We don't always agree. We certainly will continue to have those disagreements, but that's the beauty of good local democracy. We share deep respect for one another and a genuine commitment to doing what's best for our community. Decisions can often be difficult as we've tried to balance competing priorities and work within the current challenging financial environment. As a group, we have remained focused on delivering the best outcomes possible for Bass Coast, and through this, in our first year, our combined and supportive efforts have delivered a strong foundation for the years to follow. I'd like to make special mention to my Deputy, Brett Tassari, who's an old hat at this, an experienced councillor, an experienced mayor and an experienced deputy mayor. His support has been unwavering and I have appreciated having him behind me through this whole year. Lastly, to our community, thank you for your energy, ideas and belief in what we can achieve together. Thank you for your support and encouragement for me during my time as mayor. The role has allowed me to witness the many individuals and groups quietly achieving incredible things, without fuss, but with generosity and dedication. I encourage everyone to continue showing up and doing your best. The challenges are never insurmountable and the rewards are always well worth the effort. Thank you, councillors. Mr Box.
Thank you. And we'll now move on to reports requiring council decision. The first of these is 4.5.1, the determination of period of office for Mayor and Deputy Mayor. And I'd ask Mr Dillon to introduce the report.
Thank you. And through the Chair, Section 26 of the Local Government Act requires Council to determine by resolution whether the Mayor is to be elected for a 1-year or a 2-year term. This report recommends Council elect a Mayor and a Deputy Mayor for a 1-year period commencing 19th of November 2025.
Thank you, Mr Dillon. Can I have a mover for this motion? Councillor Morgan. And a seconder? Councillor? All right.
Thompson.
Councillor Morgan, would you like to speak to this motion?
Fairly procedural and standard practice in this council, Mr Box.
Councillor?
And same, thank you.
Would any councillors like to speak to the motion? Well, then I'll put that to the vote. Can I have a show of hands? That is carried. 4.5.2, election of the Mayor. Mr Dillon to introduce the report.
Thank you. And through the Chair, this report calls for nominations for the election of the Mayor in accordance with Council's governance rules and S25 of the Local Government Act 2020 and undertakes the election of the Mayor.
Thank you, Mr Dillon. At this stage, I've received one written nomination in line with the governance rules for the appointment of the Mayor. Councillor Rochelle Halstead has been nominated by Councillor Matt Morgan and the nomination has been seconded by Councillor Jan Thompson. In the absence of any other nomination, I now declare Councillor Halstead duly elected as Mayor in accordance with Governance Rules 6.3.1. Councillor Halstead, I congratulate you and invite you to assume the chair.
Thanks, John. Thanks, Tim. Thank you. Tracy. Jan. Thank you.
You're doing this side of the table too?
Sort of makes that goodbye a bit. It was a lovely goodbye speech, though, Madam Mayor.
Thank you.
Lovely knowing you.
Thank you, Greg. Wow. What do I say? It's lovely to be back. I have, thank you. Thank you, councillors, for your vote of confidence in me for another year. I will certainly continue to do my very best for the council and also for the community in this role. We have a big year ahead. Elections are upon us. I think we've set a very good foundation, and now let's go after the money, shall we? Alrighty, so next on the agenda is the election of the Deputy Mayor at 4.5.3, and I'll hand over to Mr Dillon to introduce, please.
Thank you, and through the Chair, this report calls for nominations for the election of the Deputy Mayor in accordance with Council's governance rules and undertakes the election of the Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mr Dillon. The CEO has received one written nomination in line with the governance rules for the appointment of the Deputy Mayor. Councillor Brett Tessari has been nominated by Councillor Brett Tessari, and the nomination has been seconded by Councillor Ron Bauer. In the absence of any other nomination, I now declare Councillor Tessari duly elected as Deputy Mayor in accordance with Governance Rule 6.3.2. I would like to congratulate Councillor Brett Tessari on his appointment of Deputy Mayor, and we will take a short adjournment for a short break. Photos will be taken in the foyer, and can I please ask the gallery to refrain from crossing the barrier into the chamber? You are welcome to move into the foyer for the duration of the adjournment. Thank you. Welcome back, everyone. We now go to item 5 on the agenda, public question time. Question 1, I have Oliver, who would like to come to the podium and ask his own question. If you could come up to the microphone, Oliver. Now, what we do is if you could just ask your question and then we'll get you to resume your seat back in the gallery and the CEO will answer the question you put to us, Oliver. Thank you. Go ahead.
As a regular public transport user, I'm often stung by the bus being late or missing a bus and having to wait hours. What is the council doing to improve our bus services in Bass Coast, and will they commit to working with the state government to improve them?
Thank you, Oliver. Have a seat and we'll get the CEO to respond to your question.
Through the Mayor, the planning and provision of public transport is a state government responsibility, and one of the key challenges that Council and the community identified in its integrated transport strategy 2025 to 2045 is poor public transport. Council is committed to improving bus services in Bass Coast through a set of advocacy actions the strategy outlines to present to the state government and the Department of Transport and Planning.
Thank you for your question, Oliver. It was a really important one and one that we're very focused on moving into the future.
Madam Mayor, it's also beautiful to see younger generation asking their questions.
Yes, thank you, Councillor Bauer. Question 2, Darren Murphy. Topic, Koala Estate Road rehabilitation. Roads and pathways. Are unsealed roads a health hazard? The EPA states health risk to residents from occasional exposure to road dust would be considered low. EPA would comply with the standard English dictionary definitions. Can Council please explain their definition of the word occasional?
Through the Mayor, the word occasional references the total time residents would be directly exposed to road dust, such as walking along the roadside in dusty conditions. Some community members and people with existing health issues may be at more risk from breathing in airborne dust than others. During periods of high dust, such as hot and windy days, and when there are high traffic volumes, the community should limit exposure to road dust. Further information is available on the Council website under the Roads and Pathway Services via Council's website.
Thank you, Mr Box. Question 3, Louise Lyle. Topic, signatures. At the June 2025 Council meeting, CEO Box stated, Council officers verify the name and address of each landowner when an urban roads and drainage petition is received. How does Council verify the signature is correct and not forged to initiate a scheme? Does Council have ratepayer signatures on record?
Through the Mayor, Council does not have a record of ratepayer signatures. Petitioners' names and addresses are verified against the property title.
Question 4, Louise Lyle. Topic, special charge scheme. Council said a special charge scheme is required to alleviate dust, drainage and safety issues. Council's Engage page shows a proposed special charge scheme that addresses only one issue, dust. Can residents of other streets have only the drainage issue addressed via a special charge scheme?
Through the Mayor, yes, property owners can request drainage only upgrades via a special charge scheme.
Question 5, where there are 2 questions being presented. Damien Walsh. Topic, planning policy and special charge scheme. Council's draft statement of planning policy, published March 2022 and gazetted October 2025, requires informal streetscapes, soft edges and verges in Surf Beach and Sunderland Bay. Why did Council pursue special charge schemes for the road and drainage on those estates after March 2022, which contravene the planning policy? Part 2 of the question, before approving any special charge scheme for road and drainage in Surf Beach and Sunderland Bay since March 2022, were any councillors aware and or advised by council staff that the schemes could not proceed because the draft statement of planning policy prohibited them?
Through the Mayor, the Bass Coast Statement of Planning Policy became operationalised for council officers' consideration when it was approved on the 14th of October 2025. The settlement section of the Bass Coast Statement of Planning Policy refers to verges when describing some townships and their character. This policy context does not conflict with Council's legislated obligation to afford opportunity for landowners to seek upgraded infrastructure through special charge schemes under the Local Government Act. Council officers managing special charge schemes will consider the Statement of Planning policy in the design for any schemes moving forward.
Question 6, Sue Chadwick. Topic, heritage items. The plaque honouring the volunteer ambulance drivers of yesteryear was discarded in a paddock. Our historical artefacts have disappeared as though the Shire of Phillip Island never existed. Councillors, where are the remaining important heritage items missing from 2020? It is shameful that they are not on display at Burnanite.
Through the Mayor, Council has located all the items that were in place at the time of construction. Council officers will contact the questioner to determine which heritage items are still identified as missing.
Question 7, Marnie Chadwick. Topic, carnival site. When the council reacquired the 40-acre site previously owned by Carnival, a 10-year agreement allowing the carnival to operate each summer for a specified number of years was agreed upon. Could you clarify the total fee the council will receive over this period? Question 2, can you inform the ratepayers about the allocation of the payments received from the carnival funds?
Through the Mayor, Council receives a licence fee payable for the carnival each year. The amount is determined in accordance with market values and is commercial in confidence under Section 11 of Council's Public Transparency Policy in accordance with Section 57 of the Local Government Act 2020. The carnival does not have a set total number of years for occupation of the site, and their continued occupation is subject to the needs of Council for the use of the site. The licence fee received from the carnival operators contributes to Council's budget and long-term financial plan.
Question 8. Topic, community engagement, damp surveys and consultation. What was the financial cost? Sorry, this is a question from Peter Fogarty, and I'm sorry, Peter, I hesitate because I know that you wish to ask question 25. The next one. Okay, so Peter Fogarty, topic, community engagement, damp surveys and consultation. What was the financial cost to Council to undertake and complete Domestic Animal Management Plan 2025 to 2029?
Through the Mayor, Council officers engaged a consultant to assist with engagement, design, analysis and drafting of the plan at a cost of $29,260.
Question 9, Kim Lightfoot. Topic, Cows Football Oval. What is Council's plan for a new football oval for Phillip Island?
Through the Mayor, 2 new football ovals are planned as part of the Phillip Island Recreation Reserve Master Plan adopted in September 2023. Council has committed funds to commence the functional design of the precinct in its 2025-26 annual budget and is advocating for contributions from all levels of government.
Question 10 and 11 both relate to Regional Skate Park. They'll be given one response. Bill Wilson, what is the progress for a regional skate park in the Shire? Melissa Dagg, what is the current plan for a regional skate park for the Shire?
Through the Mayor, Council reviewed its skate park strategy in 2023. The review responded to challenges involved in locating a facility for a regional skate park, which was a key action in the initial strategy. The strategy now provides for 2 sub-regional facilities located in Wonthaggi and Cowes. Council will be engaging with the community to develop designs for Wonthaggi sub-regional facility in the coming months. The strategy and review document is available on Council's website.
Question 12, Ernie Westergaard. Topic, waste contract. When will the current waste contract end?
Through the Mayor, the current waste contract ends in August 2027.
Question 13, Mel Pinkerton. Topic, transfer station. What is Council's plan for a new transfer station for Phillip Island?
Through the Mayor, Council operates the Cowes Recycling Bank 7 days a week. Council has allocated resources under the long-term financial plan to progress plans for a refurbished or new transfer station on Phillip Island during the current term of Council.
Question 14, 15 and 16 all relate to Inverloch dinosaurs. They'll be given one response. Mel Pinkerton, what is Council's plan for a dinosaur trail for Inverloch? Melissa Dagg, what is the plan for the Inverloch Dinosaur Museum? Kim Lightfoot, what is Council's plan for a dinosaur light show for Inverloch?
Through the Mayor, Council is progressing the Dinosaur Trail project by prioritising the redevelopment of the Wyeth McNamara Park Playground, commonly known as Rainbow Park, as the first stage. The immediate next step is completing the detailed design work which will guide future stages of the trail's development. Further information on the project can be found on Council's Engage Bass Coast website.
Question 17, Graham Jolly. Topic, costings. Would Council please publish a listing with costs of subscriptions, memberships, memorandums of understanding and partnerships for the period 1st of July 2024 to 31st of October 2025?
Through the Mayor, all financial memberships and sponsorships handled by Council for the period from the 1st of July 2024 to the 30th of June 2025 have been made available on Council's website. Because some larger memberships are paid annually during the first quarter, presenting data over a 16-month span would not provide an accurate representation. Some memorandums of understanding and partnerships do not involve financial commitments from Council.
Question 18, Ernie Westergaard. Topic, North Pier Hotel. What is the plan to repair the unsafe concrete roof platform to the toilet block on the Cowes foreshore in front of the North Pier Hotel that is currently closed to the public?
Through the Mayor, due to the high cost of renewing the structure to its former capacity, there are no immediate plans for the repair of the platform. The public toilets are currently safe and operational.
Question 19, Terry Parkin. Topic, advocacy listing. Would Council please provide all details in a listing with costs for the 2025-26 current year advocacy listing?
Through the Mayor, Council's advocacy priorities for 2026 to 2028 are currently under development.
Question 20, Bill Wilson. Topic, solar panels. Council has installed solar panels to a range of council-owned buildings in the Shire to reduce electricity cost. What is the current feed-in tariff rate for solar energy fed back into the grid?
Through the Mayor, the feed-in tariff Council receives for exporting excess solar power to the grid varies from 0.04 to 0.044 cents per kilowatt hour, depending on the size of the solar power system. The main financial benefit to Council and the community arises from using the free solar power on site as it is generated and from storing excess energy in a battery system for later use.
Question 21, Kevin Griffin. Topic, rate capping. Last month, Council advised that it does not plan to endorse a position on rate capping. Rate capping was introduced in 2016 to reduce financial inefficiency and to stop excessive and uncontrolled annual rate hikes by Victorian councils. Why is this council unwilling to endorse support for continued rate capping?
Through the Mayor, while rate capping was introduced in 2016 with the intention of improving efficiency and limiting excessive increases, it also affects Council's ability to keep pace with rising costs in areas such as construction, materials, insurance, labour and essential community services. While this matter is not currently on the agenda, Council may resolve a position at any point during its term.
Question 22, Kevin Griffin. Topic, staff numbers. Council's 2025 annual report states total full-time equivalent FTE staff of 312.91 at the 30th of June 2025, excluding vacancies. Council's budget 2025-26 states forecast total FTE staff of 351.4. This is about 22% FTE increase. Will Council provide details for each of the almost 39 additional budgeted FTE positions?
Through the Mayor, the 312.91 FTE reported in Council's 2025 annual report represents the number of staff actively employed as at the 30th of June 2025. This figure excludes a range of positions vacant at that time, including roles temporarily unfilled due to long-term leave advertised vacancies, recruitment in progress, and positions affected by flexible work arrangements. The approved FTE published in the annual budgets reflect Council's total approved staffing, with 348.3 FTE for 2024-25 financial year and 351.4 FTE for 2025-26 financial year.
Mr Box, question 23 came in as anonymous. Therefore, Governance Administration will respond directly via email. Question 24, Mario Boffa. Topic, landfill expenditure. Council's operational expenditure for Wonthaggi landfill rehabilitation resulted in cash flows of over $20 million for the first quarter. Previous question, 15th of October 2025. Where in the first quarter does the $20 million become evident for reading? Please explain.
Through the Mayor, the total operational outflows are reported through the cash flow statement of quarterly performance report, page 41, noting $26.978 million of outflows for employee costs, materials and services and other payments. The Wonthaggi Landfill Rehabilitation Project has a year-to-date expenditure of $1,196,939 as at the 30th of September 2025. This has been reported on page 53 of the Capital Works Status Report in the Quarterly Performance Report.
Question 25, we have Peter Fogarty who wishes to read his own question. If you, oh, he's already there. Away you go, Peter.
Thanks, Mayor. So the topic is a damp consultation. During the survey, it was alleged that members of a Bass Coast lobby group encouraged people to submit damp survey multiple times in order to influence the result. This behaviour was reported to Council. Has Bass Coast Shire Council referred this matter to Victoria Police for investigation? If not, why not?
Thank you, Peter. If you could return to the gallery, that'd be great, and I'll get the CEO to respond to the question.
Through the Mayor, Council's community engagement platform, Engage Bass Coast, provides controls to ensure that community engagement submissions are genuine and unique. Through the Domestic Animal Management Plan engagement process, Council heard from a broad range of community members representing a diverse collection of interests.
Thank you. Question 26, Pauline Taylor. Topic, Golden Cypress. Community and committee are angered that the iconic healthy golden cypress tree at the bottom of Thompson Avenue will be removed to comply with government regulations, particularly as there is a lot of concrete available in that area and the street will be one way. Were other options considered?
Through the Mayor, yes, other options were considered in this design stage. The health, long-term viability of the tree and Disability Discrimination Act compliance were the key focus.
Question 27, Johnny Cantone. Topic, pump and mountain bike track update. Two questions form this one. Can Council provide an update on the status, funding and expected timeline for the development of the new pump track in Bass Coast, including any recent progress or delays? Question 2, can Council outline the current progress on the proposed mountain bike tracks in Bass Coast, including planning, community consultation and anticipated construction or completion dates?
Through the Mayor, Council is working on the delivery plan for its mountain bike BMX pump track strategy, which outlines high-level concepts for a pump track at Cape Woolamai and mountain biking facilities at Sunset Strip, Ventnor and Wonthaggi. Design work for the pump track at Sunnyside Reserve, Cape Woolamai is progressing in the current financial year and the community will be consulted early next year. Council is also working with the Bass Coast Mountain Bike Association to progress design at Sunset Strip, Gap Road at Ventnor and West Area Road at Wonthaggi sites. Once complete, these designs will give Council shovel-ready projects ready to apply for external funding for construction, with opportunities already identified through Sport and Recreation Victoria and similar programs.
We're nearing the end, everyone in the gallery. Question 28, Graham Jolly. Topic, carryover projects. Council has omitted to publish 22 projects in the first quarter report that were previously listed as carryovers to 2025-26, reported in the last fourth quarter report, 2024-25. Would council please explain why these financial details were not reported for the 19 November 2025 meeting?
Through the Mayor, as part of Council ongoing continuous improvement of the quarterly performance reporting, Council has identified the two significant operational projects for inclusion in the 2025-26 financial year. The operational carryover projects disclosed in the Q4 report for 2024-25 financial year are forecasted in the consolidated financial results, and given the nature and size of these projects, are not reported upon individually.
Mr Box, question 29 is another question that's been submitted with the request to remain anonymous. Therefore, Governance Administration will respond directly via email. Council did receive further questions after the deadline relating to the rating strategy, rating options for consultation. The rating strategy is being considered today at the council meeting to be released for community consultation. These questions will be considered as part of that community engagement. I'd like to thank all of the submitters of questions for their questions. And we'll move to item 6, notices of motion. 6.1, neighbourhood houses. Councillor Morgan to introduce the motion without speaking to it, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I move the motion.
We have the motion on the screen. Can I have a seconder for the motion? Councillor Temby? Councillor Morgan, would you like to speak to the motion?
I would. Thank you, Madam Mayor. And congratulations on your re-election.
Thank you, Councillor Morgan.
Every week, 185,000 people access neighbourhood houses in Victoria for resilience, friendship, wellbeing, learning, inclusion and connection. Our community is growing, and I welcome that, with places like Wonthaggi North and San Remo marked for state government expansion. But at the same time we're welcoming our new community members, our community houses are being starved of the funding required to service their needs. Neighbourhood houses are facing rising costs, increasing community needs and erosion of core funding. I'm bringing this motion into the chamber, calling on the state government to urgently restore funding to historical levels through a 25% increase, allowing neighbourhood houses to continue providing communities with the essential support and connection that they do. If we want better health, social and educational outcomes, this is where it starts. We have wonderful neighbourhood houses here in Bass Coast, we all know that. But they have been underappreciated, undervalued and underfunded for years, being drip-fed tiny grants attached to oversized cheques and photo ops. The Keep the Doors Open campaign has seen thousands of postcards signed and handed to state MPs to deliver to the Treasurer, and today I'm delivering a message to the Treasurer too. 94% of neighbourhood house visitors experience improved physical wellbeing, and 96% report improved emotional wellbeing as a result of participating. Neighbourhood Houses Vic calculate the overall benefits to the Victorian community at $922 million a year. If we want better social, educational and health outcomes, invest in our community and support our neighbourhood houses to continue providing the essential supports to our growing community.
Thank you, Councillor Morgan. Councillor Temby, do you wish to add anything?
Yes, I'd like to endorse all of the comments that Councillor Morgan has made. And to sum it up, basically, neighbourhood houses are really important for our communities. They deliver numerous services and seek to meet increasing needs. They need additional funding to be able to operate effectively, and currently this is not the case. I support the motion.
Thank you, Councillor Temby. Is there any councillor that wishes to speak against the motion? Given we don't have any councillors against the motion, I might, probably no need for a reply. Councillor Morgan.
I believe there's more councillors that want to speak to the motion.
All righty, so let's go councillors who wish to speak to the motion. Councillor Bell.
We all do.
Oh, you're okay. Let's open it
Let
up.
it roll,
Councillor
Madam
Bell.
Mayor. Let it roll.
I'm going to talk particularly about Pickle in Phillip Island. Currently they're getting about $110,000 per year, and in return for that money they have to be open for 25 hours a week and provide 2 activities every hour. That amount just covers the wages for the manager, a finance officer and a cleaner. That's the bare minimum. Volunteers run the pantry and the reception, which allows Pickle to run those 2 activities per hour. And of course, they are always providing more services every day, including classes and other community support. Electricity, pest control, septic, extra bin collection, phone, internet, stationery, memberships to the Neighbourhood Houses Vic and Neighbourhood Houses Gippsland all have to be funded from other sources. They can apply for grants, but they are usually for specific programs, not the everyday running costs. The Phillip Island community, the whole community, recognises the vital nature of Pickle services, even those community members who don't necessarily need to utilise them. And that Pickle provides such an extraordinary service to our most vulnerable community members through the pantry with such little financial support from the state government is an absolute miracle. Imagine what benefit Pickle could do, and Mitchell House and the other neighbourhood houses, if they didn't have to worry about whether they could turn the lights on every day. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Bell. Councillor Tassari?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and I congratulate Councillor Morgan on this notice of motion. It's a fantastic notice of motion. Now more than ever, these neighbourhood houses need support. You walk down to one of the neighbourhood houses and you walk through it. The staff there, which is skeleton staff, are doing an amazing job, and you see people coming in need and they just can't help them. They just don't have the ability to help the people. Things are really tough at the moment, really, really tough, as we know, and I'm sure all you know as well. We have to get behind this notice of motion and let the state know that they're letting down the neighbourhood houses and they're letting down our communities by not funding them properly, because I couldn't think of the word. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Tassari. Councillor Edwards?
Adequately.
Would you like me to go to Councillor Bauer?
No, that's fine.
Good?
No, I'm all good. So Councillor Morgan and I attended last Tuesday the regional neighbourhood house AGM, and I was so pleasantly surprised that I actually knew most of the managers in the room, and that, to me, neighbourhood houses, it just brings a glow to me, because I think the amount that they touch, the amount of people that they touch in our community across they reflect the diversity of our community in terms of the programs that they offer and the people that they work with. And it's, from when I used to take my children to playgroup at another neighbourhood house, and they have lovely warm sandwiches and cups of tea, and the op shops and the language groups, and the lunches that, for example, Mitchell House holds every Wednesday here, that just, put in some money if you can, but otherwise just come and partake and warm and friendly. And I think one of the things that, for all the challenges in our society today, one of the things that we have growingly lacked over the last number of decades is a sense of connection and community to each other. And that's what neighbourhood houses, I see as a linchpin of connecting and community, bringing people together and connecting. At a local level, President Helen Searle and the House Manager Leslie Adams are here today in the chamber. And that Mitchell House provides a really safe and inclusive space for everybody to come and to learn, share ideas. I think for personally, I've personally benefited so much from neighbourhood houses. I know so many people have. And the value that they provide to our community far outweighs the investment. It's an exponential leverage of every dollar that goes in, just exponentially the value that's created from that. I can't speak highly enough of our neighbourhood houses, and I don't think there's a figure that we could put on it that would be too much, if I might say so as an economic rationalist, that this is actually a great investment to support them in getting more funding. Yeah.
Thank you, Councillor Edwards. Councillor Bauer?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Madam Mayor, fellow councillors and ratepayers watching this meeting. The thing that really stood out to me when I first stood for election all those years ago now was when I was given the guided tour of Pickle. And the thing that really shocked me, and it still affects me today, is when he opened the kitchen door and there was all those food bags. To think that I was lucky enough to go home for lunch and have a bowl of soup. These neighbourhood houses are critical for our people that have not got the ability to look after themselves. I thank Councillor Morgan for this motion. I endorse it, and anybody with a heart in the government must endorse it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Bauer. Heartfelt contribution. Councillor Thompson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd like to also thank Councillor for the motion. The Coronella District Community Centre, where I live, basically is a vital community connection. It gets people together, supporting each other with courses, counselling, such as legal aid system. More important is the community pantry, where those who cannot afford food can get a meal. But even during power strikes, you can go down there and charge up your phones and have a cup of tea. This is really important and very vital for our community. And I'd like to thank everyone in all the community centres who are providing all that work, particularly the volunteers. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Thompson. Just a slight pause for anyone else. Given we have no one against the motion, are you happy to put the motion, Councillor Morgan?
Happy to put it to a vote, Madam Mayor.
All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Great work, Councillor Morgan. Councillors, I intend to vacate the chair for the consideration of the next item of business. In accordance with our governance rules, I call for the Deputy Mayor to take the chair.
Oh, gee, it feels good.
30 seconds in the job. You got to
Sits
give.
on the floor.
Very comfortable chair.
Can't say the same about yours, Councillor Tassari.
Oh, well, only deputy. Thank you, Mayor. I will now assume the chair for this item. So, Councillor Holstead, would you like to introduce your motion? Without speaking to it, which is hard for you.
It is, Councillor Tassari. I'd like to put it as it is on the screen up there in relation to the Planning Amendment Bill 2025.
Would somebody like to second that notice of motion? Councillor Morgan? Councillor Holstead, you now may speak.
Thank you, Councillor Tassari. I'm just going to read from my notes that were provided, councillors. I'm sure you've read as you've gone through your reports. I'm bringing this notice of motion on behalf of our community and council whose interests have been diminished in the preparation of the Planning Amendment Better Decisions Made Faster Bill 2025. The bill proposes substantial changes to the Planning and Environment Act 1987, which dramatically transform the planning system, stripping the rights of our residents and siphoning away the decision-making power of local government. Under ill-considered, fast-tracked processes, residents will have less notice and review rights for applications which impact their interests in favour of increased development activity in pursuit of the state's housing targets. This change will undoubtedly prove fatal to good, orderly planning and result in poor land use and development outcomes. Development will lack critical consideration for their appropriate siting and context within broader neighbourhoods and townships, whilst the disconnect from localised planning will result in poorly planned infrastructure and amenity which are unfit to support this development. Councils who are responsible for administering Victoria's planning system will be left impotent by the reform, now required to do more with less. Significantly reduced timeframes for decisions under vastly reduced fee structures are proposed, all whilst continuing the resourcing of this net zero service under a rate-capped environment. The lack of consultation undertaken with the community and local government requires comprehensive parliamentary scrutiny, with the real risk of process inefficiencies, social disharmony and land use and development conflict within our shire. This reform provides a once-in-a-generation opportunity to improve the planning industry and shape Victoria's future, and I strongly encourage the state government to remove the bill and undertake the consultation needed to ensure we get it right. We know many times in this chamber, councillors have mentioned the need for a reform of this Act, but the way the state government has gone about it does not deliver the best outcomes for our community. So I put this motion to you, councillors, and seek your support.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Councillor Morgan.
Thank you very much, Deputy Mayor. Our record as a council shows that we're in favour of housing. Our council is ready to deliver what our communities need, and the stats show that council is not the blocker in the system. However, what I want to see is genuinely affordable housing to address the crisis and meet the needs of our community. It's a problem which the state's planning changes do not address or, frankly, speak to at all. I'm also not in favour of the erosion of democratic processes that allow our community to have a say in local decisions. Planning changes aren't going to solve the housing crisis. The government knows this. They make these changes while bulldozing and selling off public housing. If the state government's looking for the reason young people can't buy a house, they don't need to look at our local planning team. They need to look at their own housing policies geared towards making the rich richer, the banks more profit, and affordable housing more out of reach than ever.
Yeah. Well said, Councillor Morgan. Councillor Tenby.
Thank you, Mr Chair. We all like bureaucratic processes to be fast. However, this state government bill is highly likely to disenfranchise local communities. It disenfranchises the council's plans and priorities, the skills of our planning team and others who are involved in planning related matters, and takes the decision making away from council and our community. It is the council, our council budget, our community and our environment that will suffer the suboptimal outcomes that will result from this short-sighted approach by our state government. I fully support this motion to ensure that broad council and community consultation and independent review occurs prior to any further progress being made on this proposed bill.
Thank you, Councillor Tenby. Anyone else like to speak to or against this notice of motion? No? Councillor Holstead?
Put to the vote with no one against the motion.
All in favour of the notice of motion? Carried.
Thank you, Councillor Tessari. I think that's where you hand my chair back.
I will now pass the chair back to the Mayor for the remainder of the meeting.
Thank you. Geez, warm in here. Is it just me?
That's the
Seat.
Thank you for your support on that, councillors. I think it's really important. All right, item 7 on the agenda is petition, joint letters, deputations and correspondence, of which we have none, so we'll move to item 8. Reports requiring council decision. 8.1. Ms Taylor to introduce, please.
Thank you, Mayor. The purpose of this report is to present a planning application for the construction of 2 dwellings at 30 Grossard Point Road in Ventnor. The report is before Council as 39 objections to the proposal have been received. The report provides an assessment against the Bass Coast Planning Scheme, including matters arising from a previous VCAT determination. It is recommended that Council resolve to issue a notice of decision to grant a planning permit subject to the conditions outlined in the report. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Ms Taylor. Do I have a mover for this motion? Councillor Morgan, seconder. Councillor Tenby. Councillor Morgan, you wish to introduce?
Thanks, Madam Mayor. Just briefly, I think this development meets all of the requirements from the VCAT determination in the report.
Thank you, Councillor Morgan. Councillor Tenby.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We need infill housing inside our town boundaries. There appear to be no environmental losses from this proposal. I recognise that there is some concern about it, but it meets council planning criteria and the site will have garden, trees, etc. planted when the buildings are complete. Hopefully the new buildings will incorporate solar passive principles for long-term environmental, economic and comfort benefits. I support the proposal subject to the conditions listed.
Thank you, Councillor Tenby. Is there any other councillor that wishes to speak? Councillor Bauer.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, fellow councillors, ratepayers watching this meeting. I'm going to speak against the motion. I moved the alternate motion when this planning application came before council last time. I note that this amended application takes into account the recommendations set out by the member at VCAT. I do not believe that the fundamental reasons why I was against this application then have been addressed in this submission. However, taking another alternative, I think, would be pointless. Clearly, VCAT has had a different opinion to our neighbourhood policy. I will vote against this application because I agree with the people of Grossard Point that this location and development is inappropriate. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Bauer. Any other councillors wish to speak for or against? Councillor Morgan, would you like to? Oh, we haven't got against, so we can.
Yes, you have. I'm against.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, would you like to?
Oh yeah, I don't particularly take joy in a lot of the decisions that we make in this room. These aren't decisions that we make about thoughts and feelings. They're matters of law, and I'm glad that Councillor Bauer was not recommending that we take this back to VCAT without a leg to stand on.
Thank you, Councillor Morgan. I will now put that to the vote. Councillors, all those in favour of the recommendation? That's all those against? That's carried.
I would like to see a division on this, please.
Thank you, Councillor Bauer. All those in favour? Councillor Tassari, Councillor Edwards, Councillor Temby, Councillor Morgan, Councillor Thompson, Councillor Helsted. All those against? Councillor Bauer, Councillor O'Brien, Councillor Bell. Thank you, councillors. That's carried. 8.2, Ms Taylor to introduce the report, please.
Thank you, Mayor. The purpose of this report is to present to Council a planning permit application for the use and development of the land as a contractor's depot in the rural living zone and restructure overlay at 34 Boyd Street in Wonthaggi. The application is before Council as 24 objections have been received. The report provides an assessment of the proposal against the relevant provisions of the Bass Coast Planning Scheme, together with an overview of the site context and issues considered during the assessment process. It is recommended that Council issue a notice of refusal as the proposal is inconsistent with the requirements of the planning scheme and the purpose of the rural living zone. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Ms Taylor. Do I have a mover of the motion, please? Councillor Morgan. Do I have a seconder? Councillor O'Brien. As the mover, Councillor Morgan, would you like to introduce?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I take no pleasure in moving this. Pommy Town Estate is a wonderful little community, and I thank the residents for their engagement on this sensitive issue.
Thank you, Councillor Morgan. Councillor O'Brien, do you wish to add?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor. Yeah, look, I'm familiar with that little estate, and I think that, you know, hands on heart, you know, that every now and then, you know, things come up before council where quite reluctantly, you know, we just have to pursue correct procedures and planning processes. In this case, the residents there affected are clearly, you know, against, or rather, clearly for council taking action here, and that's not to undervalue, nor to deliberately make things tough for the person who's conducting the business there. But it's just one of those things where we're kind of caught. Residents do have the right to the quiet enjoyment of their properties, and we as council, you know, if a business grows up within those residences, we find ourselves often reluctantly having to react.
Thank you, Councillor O'Brien. Is there any other councillors wish to speak for or against? Councillor Tassari.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This is one of those ones where I know both sides of the track. I've met with the applicant several times, and I've worked with him to try and come up with a better solution. I know a number of the people sitting in the gallery right now, and also that live in that area, that are affected by the amenity of the bus and the trucks and the such coming through. That area there's notoriously had small businesses operating out of there all along. Unfortunately, it's a business that has grown. He's also been forced to operate some of that business from there because of the fact that we've, over the years, traditionally used the industrial estate probably for the wrong reasons in putting gymnasiums and cafes and milk bars and all kinds of things in industrial estate. And now we have a lack or shortness of industrial land. It's not a nice one, this one. It's not a nice one at all. And I reluctantly sit here and have to decide on which way I'll go on this one. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Tassari. Any other? Councillor Temby?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. In principle, uncontrolled developments in inappropriate areas should not be supported, and I do understand the iterative process that leads to a depot like this developing. That being said, this development was not approved, is incompatible with the expectations of a rural residential area and additionally to the rail trail. This contractor's depot should be located in an industrial zone elsewhere in the Shire. If council officers can assist with the identification of suitable locations for their business, that would be really helpful. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Temby. Councillor Edwards?
I'm in a similar position to Councillor Tassari here. I haven't gone at length with the consultation, but in essence, we've got a business that's predated a lot of the development around it. And, you know, obviously I'm very clear in my support of business. However, it's also in an inappropriate zone. I would like us to pull out every stop for this one to help this business to be able to, in every way possible, to be able to find alternative land that is suitable to do what they're wanting to do or to continue their operations, because the last thing that any of us want to see is a business impeded. However, at the same time, I'm cognizant of what the land is zoned, and I'm right with Councillor Tassari here. This is a particularly prickly one, and with regret, I understand the impacts on it. Yeah.
Thank you, Councillor Edwards. Anything further, councillors? I might just pick up on Councillor Tassari when you said, unfortunately, the business has outgrown that space. You could switch that and say, fortunately, for the business owner, if their business has got bigger, then that's a wonderful thing. But I also get the position that we're all in on this one. So with that, and given that we have, I'm assessing this as no objections around the table.
Let's put that to the vote.
All those in favour of the recommendation for refusal? That's, oh, no, okay. All those against? Oh, okay.
And I'll abstain, Madam Mayor.
Abstaining. That's carried, councillors. 8.3 on the agenda. Ms Taylor to introduce the report, please.
Thank you, Mayor. In response to a notice of motion, this report provides Council with an overview of the Unlocking Rural Tourism Strategy and its alignment with the Bass Coast Statement of Planning Policy. The report examines the strategic opportunities associated with rural tourism, the implications for land use planning, and the policy considerations guiding future decision-making. It is recommended that Council note the report. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Ms Taylor. Councillor Thompson.
I'd like to move an alternative, please, Madam Mayor. The alternative being to discontinue the Bass Coast Unlocking Rural Tourism Strategy.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Thompson. Do I have a seconder for Councillor Thompson? Councillor O'Brien.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to foreshadow a motion, please.
Thank you, Councillor Edwards.
What is the motion?
Do you wish to speak to what you're foreshadowing now, Councillor Edwards?
Yes, it's only on the basis if the alternate motion that Councillor Thompson is about to raise, should that not succeed. So if it succeeds, then we won't debate the foreshadowed motion because that will have won. If it loses, I would like to foreshadow a motion that the debate be deferred until next year.
Thank you, Councillor Edwards. Do I need a second?
No.
Okay.
Good.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Councillor Edwards.
Point of clarification, Madam Mayor. If the alternate loses, that means we go back to the original motion.
No, not
Therefore, the foreshadowed motion is to the original motion or the...
My understanding would be
Goes to the foreshadow.
it would go to the foreshadowed.
Because councillor Edwards has foreshadowed.
We're not going back
his
to the
failed.
original motion.
Only if I hadn't foreshadowed it, and then you would go back to the.
Thank you, councillor Bauer. You okay with that?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. Councillor Thompson, would you like to now speak to your motion?
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. The distinctive areas and landscapes with the DEL status was to remove real and perceived barriers in planning regulations to encourage large-scale tourism investments such as luxury resorts, five-star hotels and destination restaurants, even on farmland and near sensitive environments. The BERT prioritised opening rural land, much of it previously protected for agricultural or its environmental and scenic value, to new high-end tourism developments. The BERT, in fact, will lead to the loss of farmland and its natural habitats. The BERT puts Phillip Island's unique rural character and the rest of Bass at risk. Our farmland should stay as farmland. Our woodlands and wildlife corridors should stay protected. Our rural communities do not want to become suburban precincts. The BERT has had little to no support within the community, and I therefore move the motion to discontinue the Bass Coast Unlocking Rural Tourism Strategy. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, councillor Thompson. Councillor O'Brien as the seconder.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Look, I'm very pleased to second Councillor Thompson's motion, and I do note the report requested. But while we perhaps didn't get the wording entirely clear in that motion asking for a report, the intent was clear, that being to identify the tensions between the intent of the BERT and the intent of the DEL, namely to preserve character, protect the environment and curtail development in sensitive areas. Other than argue against itself more than once, this report does not clarify with any granularity the key points of concern, and it begs the question to be proved. It says that the BERT and SPP should be seen largely as complementary policy documents. That, of course, is moot. I'm perplexed as to why the BERT exists at all and why the strategy was progressed despite knowledge of the DEL in prospect. The BERT carries radical changes to land use planning, changes which become permanent once those new uses are approved. There is no going back. It cannot be unscrambled. So Councillor Thompson's motion places us today at a point in this region's history. This is another of those decisions we will make that will have a very, very long tail. The opposition to the BERT from our community is clear. It is not supported by farmers and their representative bodies, the Reg Group and VFF representatives there, who will be hurt by its outcome, who will see piece by piece land around them bought up by land bankers and speculators waiting to capitalise on rezoning opportunities. It is clearly not supported by the community, for that majority who, survey after survey, nominate the preservation of character as a key objective of council. It is not supported by conservation groups, by PICs, by the National Trust, by Coast Care groups and others who don't want high-end tourism developments hanging over our treasured coastlines outside settlement boundaries. Their approvals facilitated by the pros of radical change to rezoning within farm zones. The BERT is overreach. If we have problems with current planning, we should be looking to address those shortcomings with community consultation and review of the Rural Land Use Strategy 2014. And, as if we need reminding here, in this beautiful and largely unspoilt region, so close to Melbourne, the environment is the economy. It is in our stewardship, and we today and those who follow us are its protectors. I recognise that nothing stays still. I'm not against sensible, considered development, but the BERT misses the point in so many ways, mostly because it looks at this region, at the island, through a very narrow tourism lens, at the expense of so many things we hold dear in this wonderful, largely unspoilt region. We have too much at stake, too much too easily lost to not put this unwelcome strategy to bed. It is good night, BERT.
Right on the knocker. Thank you, councillor O'Brien. Councillor Morgan, you wish to speak?
Yeah, thanks, Madam Mayor. That was fantastically timed. I, however, will be brief on this one. I think there is some sensible planning policy in the BERT, but there is also some problematic stuff, as has been noted by my colleagues, the Phillip Island Conservation Society, and the many constituents who have engaged with me on this issue. At the end of the day, the BERT in its current form doesn't have the support of our community. They're who I'm here to represent, so I will be supporting the motion to discontinue.
Thank you, Councillor Morgan. Councillor Bauer.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, fellow councillors and ratepayers watching this meeting. As I've said before, few issues have created more complaints on Millar Phillip Island as the Bass Coast Unlocking Rural Tourism BERT strategy. Speaking to islanders, both farmers and suburban people, it is inappropriate as it impacts on the farming sector and the loss of natural habitat and will impact on the value of the farms themselves. Since the introduction of the distinctive area landscapes, the DAL, any project under the BERT could contradict the DAL and even dilute the DAL's intentions of preservation to the point of being redundant, especially on the island. I see the BERT as a backdoor mechanism to get around the DAL. This will give the Minister the excuse to allow inappropriate developments to proceed. The argument put forward by officers that the BERT gives added strength to the Statement of Planning Policy, SSP, can be resolved even after we have rescinded the BERT. If the officers really believe that the Shire needs more protection, then let's have a community engagement session and, if necessary, develop a sub-policy that can be coupled into the SSP. This is backed by Destination Phillip Island, and I quote, We support the Council funding a thorough review of the Bass Coast Rural Land Strategy, use study to create an updated policy, ... This is supported by the objectives set out by the Bass Coast Statement of Planning Policy, end of quote. I therefore support the alternate motion brought forward by Councillor Thompson. Thank you.
Madam Mayor, can I just point a clarification? It's not the officers that go out and put these things forward. It's direction from council and councillors. So I sort of reject that commentary where if the officers feel we need more protection, it's us that make these calls, not the officers.
It's my understanding that this came from the officers as a result of a inappropriate...
We can use for Councillor Tessari's.
I object to that, Madam. I wish it had been retracted.
Councillor Bauer, I'm just referring to governance on the point of order. Just wait one moment, councillors. The reason I'm asking Councillor Tessari is I'm not sure there's a point.
No, I am supposed to quote. I got my message across, though.
That covers incorrect statements or perceived. 52.4, debate is irrelevant to the matter under consideration. I think we might have to.
I'll take back my point of order.
Point of order there, Councillor Tessari. I'm sorry about that. Is there anything else any other councillors wish to add to this debate? Councillor Temby.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I am in really strong agreement with the vast majority of the comments that have been made so far, but I see a slightly different avenue to pursue the matter. The BERT strategy is not an official part of the Bass Coast planning scheme and is clearly a singularly pro-big tourism document. Our statement of planning policy is now our big picture document attached to the distinctive areas and landscapes process. When the tasks that the state government conveniently failed to provide us in the SPP are completed, it'll provide us with a 50-year plan to guide the Shire's future. I share the widespread community concern about the perspective and many components of the BERT that appear to support big tourism developments in inappropriate areas, such as our farmland and coastlines. However, there are sections of the BERT that should be retained, perhaps as the basis for a consultation process to develop planning detail under the SPP, which is like the skeleton, and we need to flesh out the skeleton. There are some sections of the BERT that have merit. For example, on page 91 of the BERT, it states, in part, under Vision for Rural Tourism, a table with 6 headings and brief explanations, including, in part, attract appropriate rural tourism investment, facilitate a sustainable and resilient rural tourism economy. And under point 5, environmental protection and enhancement, it states ensuring that tourism activity both protects and enhances the Shire's environmental assets, as well as provides for environmental management and rehabilitation, particularly supportive native fauna and flora and enhancing biodiversity. Plus point 6, effective integration with agriculture, other rural land uses, significant landscapes and heritage values. If we put tight conditions on what we expect, those statements are very valuable for our future use. So I'm concerned that if we lose some parts of the BERT's detailed expectations, we make it more difficult, for example, for farmers and others to establish regenerative ecotourism activities, farm stays, farm gate sales, heritage visits, wine tasting, and other activities that do not interfere with the farming business but enable other revenue streams without adverse impact on farming practices. We need to overtly and immediately remove from all our planning documents any implication that they want the Disneylands, London Eyes and giant resorts, or to rezone farmland for other purposes. We should keep those parts of the BERT that help us to maintain good control of development and at the same time not put unnecessary barriers to regenerative farmland developments that are environmentally sympathetic and do not adversely affect primary production. Parts of the BERT should be discontinued, but some of its content needs review, not complete disposal. This may include...
10 seconds, Councillor Temby.
In the immediate term, some of the BERT's content needs to be kept while parts of it is incorporated in a comprehensive planning document to put implementation flesh on the skeleton of the SPP. At this time, the BERT should be deleted. I see this approach being both environmentally and economically responsible, despite my superficial desire to delete the BERT now.
Thank you, Councillor Temby. We'll let you go over a little bit there. Is there any other councillors wish to? Councillor Bell?
Yeah. I've been struggling with this one for a while, most of the 12 months that we've been in term. So 12 months ago, Kim Story from DPI showed me the BERT and she said that it was designed to encourage the farm stays and the farm gate sales Councillor Temby is mentioning. She didn't say it was designed to encourage the high-end tourist resorts that we seem to be afraid of here. We do have to sort out the tourist accommodation debate that we have on the island especially. On one hand, when we are talking about planning and housing and things, we are talking about putting extra levies on the Airbnbs to encourage them into the long-term rental market and improve housing stock. But on the other hand, if we say there should be no development of hotel accommodation, we've got to put them, they've got to sleep somewhere. Phillip Island is Victoria's #1 tourist destination. At the moment, people make day trips. They use our roads, they use our public toilets. They don't pay a cent to be here. They bring their packed lunch. They don't even put money into a local cafe. And it's our ratepayers who are paying to maintain the roads and clean the toilets for the tourists. So we want to encourage them to stay a night or two, put some money into our local economy. And they need to sleep somewhere. So I'm not saying at all that I am supporting high-end monstrous resorts on every cliff top at all. But we have the DAL that has now dictated the town boundaries. They're locked down. So we probably need to be open to the possibility of a hotel or two within those town boundaries as dictated by the SPP. I do believe the priority is to protect our natural assets, to review the rural land use policy, check that the rural activity zone is still appropriate, and ensure that our planning scheme fits with what we want for Phillip Island and Bass Coast Shire. That's all.
Councillor Bell. I just have a question of Officer Taylor before we go to the vote. Can I ask Officer Taylor, or without notice, I'm sorry this question's coming, the cost of the review to get us to this point? We obviously budgeted to have that review done. What was the cost? Does anyone have that answer? Yeah.
Through the Mayor, Council received a grant from the state government to complete the policy work. The grant was $100,000.
100,000, and it's been accepted or was accepted by the previous council. Is it 12 months? Is that correct? About 12 months we've had the policy? Or is it longer?
Through the Mayor, it's been around 2 years.
Okay, so 2 years. And can I ask through you, Ms Taylor, about my understanding of the BERT is that the state government is able to, when we're talking about these big Taj Mahal type 5-star resorts that community is concerned about, and rightly so, that they can be accepted by the minister without any input from council. Is that correct?
Through the Mayor, that's correct. Through the Development Facilitation Program at the state government, these types of proposals could be considered.
And one last one, Ms Taylor. Does the BERT allow for us to apply conditions that might, in fact, allow us to improve the conservation, so more planting, landscape plans, those sort of conditions where at the moment we don't have that?
Through the Mayor, the Unlocking Rural Tourism strategy is essentially a plan for further work in relation to agriculture and tourism. One of the key recommendations is a review of the 2014 Rural Land Use Strategy. Until that work was completed and implemented into the planning scheme, we wouldn't have the ability to further limit or change development in response to the strategy itself.
Okay. So with the BERT, we would be able to move forward with that, that work, is what you're essentially saying?
Through the Mayor, a key recommendation of the strategy is a comprehensive review of the 2014 Rural Land Use Strategy.
Lovely. Thank you, Councillor. Thank you, Ms Taylor. I'm not sure.
Clarification. Do I ask a question of clarification?
Point of clarification, Councillor.
Through you to Ms Taylor. The SSP, surely can the SSP be beefed up to take the issues of the BERT into the SSP?
Through the Mayor, the Statement of Planning Policy is a higher order document designed to really guide settlement planning, not so much individual planning permit decisions.
Thank you, Ms Taylor.
Sum up now.
Councillor Thompson, yes, you're welcome for a right of reply.
Thank you very much.
Keeping it to what's being debated around the table.
That's fine. I'm all for high-end resorts and hotels, but within the DEL guidelines, not out in rural areas. And I just want to point out one thing. In the 2016 Phillip Island and San Remo Visitor Economy Strategy to 2035.
You're introducing new information to the debate, Councillor Thompson.
Right, okay. We've currently got 3.5 million tourists visiting here.
This is still new information to the debate. This is not something that's been debated, Councillor Thompson.
I'll just finalise.
Councillor Thompson, you need to keep it to what's been raised in the debate around the table.
Thank you very much. I'd just like to say thank you to all the other supporters, and I wish to put to a vote, please.
Thank you, Councillor Thompson. All those in favour of the alternate, which is on the screen, and that is to discontinue the Bass Coast Unlocking Rural Tourism Strategy. All those in favour? All those against? That's carried. Thank you, councillors. Okay, 8.4 on the agenda is Wimbledon Heights pedestrian crossing. Ms Taylor to introduce the report.
Thank you, Mayor. In response to a notice of motion, this report provides an overview on progress made to establish a pedestrian crossing on Phillip Island Road at Wimbledon Heights. The report outlines the safety issues identified, community feedback received, and the engineering and design considerations relevant to potential treatment options. It is recommended that Council continues to advocate to the State Government to reduce the speed limit of the road and to fund the pedestrian crossing. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Ms Taylor. Do I have a mover? Councillor Bell, seconder. Councillor Temby. Would you like to speak, Councillor Bell?
Yeah, I better. This was my notice of motion and I'm really happy. I know that Ms Taylor has said that although I might be finding the process of Council quite slow, this is moving at light speed. So let's see, 2 months to draw some pictures is great. But I'm really happy to see Department of Transport and Council moving on this, and to have the designs in place means that we can now be asking for funding to get it built. I give credit to the council officers for helping DTP out with designing the crossing to expedite that funding and subsequent construction. It's not done yet though, so I'm happy to see that the recommendation says to continue advocating to DTP so that it can be completed. It's not too much to ask before the beginning of the school year.
Just putting it out there. Thanks, Councillor Bell. Councillor Temby, do you wish to speak?
Yes, and well said, Councillor Bell. Look, it's really important for us to keep up the pressure. It is a dangerous crossing. I don't think anyone would challenge that. And my perspective on it is let's not wait until a kid is killed for us to decide that it's important and needs action.
Yeah.
Thank you, Councillor Temby. Any other Councillor Tassari?
Just quickly, I want to congratulate Councillor Bell on the original notice of motion and the drive to really get this going. I will be, as soon as this is up and done, I'll be taking Councillor Bell around to show her some areas in Wonthaggi and the Bunurong ward that need some crossings, and we'll get you banging on those ones as well, but congratulations.
Thank you, Councillor Tassari. Councillor Thompson?
Yes, I'd also like to congratulate Councillor Bell. This was a great motion. The most important thing that we can do is to protect our children. And if we allow children to cross a very busy road and that's on us, we should have protection to those children, and we need to push the state government. They need to come on board, and perhaps maybe there's a few candidates that might take it up as well. But thank you very much, Councillor Bell.
Thank you, Councillor Thompson. Councillor Bauer?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Madam Mayor, fellow councillors and ratepayers watching this meeting. This report follows the successful motion put forward by Councillor Bell. Well done. I think everybody's congratulating you on this one. What I'm about to say takes nothing away from your motion, please. Firstly, I commend the speed. I commend the speed at which this project is coming along, and I commend the officers on that. However, I see the same flaws in this proposed crossing, and this is what we're looking at, the drawings, as the one that I could see for an upgrade at Amazing Things. The central refuge in the centre barely takes one bicycle. People, mainly children, are crossing against the traffic at their own risk. What we ideally need is a pedestrian-operated traffic light crossing so a group of people can cross the light in one cycle. Being a pedestrian operated, it is under the zone.
Are you referring to the one outside Amazing Things?
No, I'm now going back to generic on this at the
Councillor Barry, if you're after a pedestrian crossing at Amazing Things, may I
said it is the same
move a notice of motion as Councillor Bell has done? So
Councillor
Bauer, I bring you back to the...
I am back on it if you listen carefully. Being a pedestrian, operated traffic lights on a green traffic light would run freely without the school. This is on the design at Gap Road, or when someone wishes to cross. However, I appreciate that it will require a lot of money and may delay the implementation of this project. This is the motion. In the interim, I hope the officers have the road painted with a zigzag and a lighted sign saying children crossing here at Gap Road. That is the motion. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Bauer. Is there any other councillor, or have we gone through everyone? I think we might go back to Councillor Bell. Would you like to?
Everyone agrees, so let's put it to the vote.
All right, all those in favour? That's carried, and no Councillor Edwards has left the room. Thank you. 8.5, Ms Taylor to introduce the report, please.
Thank you, Mayor. This report recommends that Council resolve not to proceed at this time with the proposed special charge scheme for the Esplanade from Sunderland Bay Road to Zephyr Court in its current form. On the 16th of July this year, Council resolved to give public notice of its intent to declare a special charge scheme for the upgrade of road and drainage infrastructure along this section of the Esplanade. Following that resolution, a property owner within the scheme boundary has obtained approval for a plan of subdivision. altering the total number of benefiting properties. This change affects the calculation of the benefit ratio and the equitable apportionment of the charge among owners. To ensure compliance with statutory requirements and to uphold fairness in cost distribution, officers will prepare a revised scheme for Council's consideration at a future meeting. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Ms Taylor. Do we have a mover? Councillor Temby, seconder. Councillor Bell. Councillor Temby, would you wish to speak?
Yes, this is a totally appropriate action resulting from the changes that are taking place. We need to have fairness. This enables that fairness process to take place. So,
thank you, Councillor Temby.
Need support.
Councillor Bell?
Yeah, I agree. It's just simply carrying out the policy to ensure fairness to all the residents. So I'm happy to support the recommendation.
Thank you, Councillor Bell. Any other councillor wish to speak? We'll put that to the vote. Councillor Temby?
yes.
All those in favour? That's carried. Thank you. Item 8.6, Mr Dillon to introduce the report, please.
Thank you, and through the Mayor. The purpose of this report is to present the July to September quarterly performance report to the community, the first quarterly report of our new council plan. The report provides and progress of the annual action plan. Council has introduced improvements to make quarterly reporting easier to understand and more meaningful for our community, including a new structure, expanded quarterly highlights and new annual action definitions.
Thank you, Mr Dillon. Do I have a mover? Councillor Morgan. Councillor Temby, second. Thank you. Councillor Morgan, you wish to speak?
Thank you. I was not prepared to speak on this one. I think everyone's heard enough of my voice, but I'll just thank the team for their work.
Thank you, Councillor Morgan. Councillor Temby, did you wish to add?
Basically the same thing, but good to see the favourable activities going on and the favourable budgetary result as well.
Thank you, Councillor Temby. Any other councillors wish to speak? We put that to the vote. All those in favour? That's carried. Thank you, councillors. 8.7, Mr Dillon.
Thank you, and through the Mayor. The purpose of this report is to release 3 proposed rating differential options for public feedback and submissions. The release of these options will be complemented by planned community engagement at council-facilitated forums in November and December. Community feedback will be reviewed and considered as part of the process to finalise and recommend a new rating strategy in February 2026.
Thank you, Mr Dillon. Do we have a mover? Councillor O'Brien, and a seconder, Councillor Edwards. Thank you. Councillor O'Brien.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Look, I have little to say other than this is local government at work, where we're taking options around things that matter, you know, quite a lot to most of us around, you know, rates and the rate differential. And I think, you know, our farmers will be very pleased to see that they can enter this discussion. And if I can ask Patrick, you know, a couple of questions, you know, in the debate, that'd be terrific. But this is, yeah, we're very pleased to propose it. Now, what am I doing?
Yeah,
You're moving the motion?
I'm moving the motion.
Recommendation?
I'm not proposing it. Yes.
Thank you, Councillor O'Brien. Councillor Edwards?
Yes, I think this is definitely a move in the right direction, and I'm really keen to see what consultation comes out of it. I'll be open, I'm not keen on seeing the removal of the land management rebate. I think for all the talk on environmental action, this is action, not words, the land management rebate, and it's directly into our community of the major landholders of our whole environment are farmers, and so we need to, I think, encourage that. And certainly at 65%, we will be matching our neighbours at South Gippsland on their farm rate differential. We are well above at the moment the recommended farm rate differential from across the state. And when we think about how much farmers pay to the income that they have for their asset, this is a very sound thing to proceed along with, you know, in terms of what they get for their rates versus what they actually pay as individuals. And they are a minority group in terms of numbers in our community. So I think we need to take into that account as well. We hear from minority voices, and we make sure that we hear from minority voices of other cohorts, and farmers are another cohort in in our current demographics of being a lesser percentage of the population than others. And yet at the same time, they are responsible for the greatest land owning and for the environment which we all enjoy and live in. So,
Edwards, I've let you go on with this, but we're actually, the recommendation before us is to release 3 alternatives for community consultation, not to debate what your view is on the 3 alternatives.
okay. So I'm pleased to see that we have option 1 in there as one of the 3 options to proceed with. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Edwards. Is there any other councillor? Councillor Temby and then Councillor Morgan.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm uncomfortable about and concerned that these 3 options do not recognise that some other groups of people are in dire need of rates discount. They currently help to sponsor those who do get one. For example, not all farmers need a discount, but all farmers will claim their rates as a tax deduction. Urban homeowners who are struggling can't do that.
Just one moment, Councillor Temby. Councillor Thompson, you have a point of order.
This is debating again and not talking to them.
The point of order is relevance, Councillor Temby. The recommendation before us is to put out the options for community consultation, not to debate the options that are being put. So it will come back to council once we've had the consultation, and I would say that going out for consultation is probably the right thing to do before we debate it, so that we've heard from our community their points of view, and then we can debate it when it does come back.
If I could just make one brief comment, thank you. I was putting this together as some points that should be discussed within that community consultation on this process. That was.
So you're suggesting there should be other options, or?
I'm putting up some ideas that should that would probably be of interest to the community in discussing this rates process, rate strategy.
Yeah. Yes, please. Mr Dillon.
Through the Mayor, we're more than happy to consider all options through the consultation. That is the point of the consultation. This is just a starting point. So all cohorts are welcome to come with their ideas, and they will be considered as part of the recommendations put forward.
I was just sowing a few seeds.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I had Councillor Morgan next. Councillor Thompson, are you okay, Councillor?
Yeah, let me just quickly clean this up. We're sending these options out to community consultation for very good reason. I think in the same way that some councillors have been jumping the gun in terms of debating it ahead of it going out for consultation. I've also had some early emails and contacts from constituents on this, which is fantastic. Loving the enthusiasm, but please send me an email. I'll keep my phone charged. I'm on Instagram if you like. Engage the hell out of this. Go onto the Engage website and let's get as many opinions in the room as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. Councillor Thompson?
I'd just like to thank the managers for this, these options and the great debate we had earlier on putting this together. Thank you, and I think it's great for everyone to have a say. So please get out there and make comments on what you want. This is your money. These are your rates. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Thompson. Anyone else who hasn't spoken who wishes to speak? All right, so we'll put the recommendation to release the options out for community consultation. All those in favour? That's carried. Thank you, councillors. 8.8, award of tender. Mr Dillon to introduce, please.
Thank you, and through the Mayor, the purpose of this report is to seek Council's approval to enter a contract with Business Fuel Cards Priority Limited through Procurement Australia for fuel card solutions leveraging from a collaborative procurement agreement established by Procurement Australia. The panel concluding the multi-branded fuel card solution provided by Business Fuel Cards Priority Limited will satisfy the requirements of the service and provide Council with the best value for money.
Thank you, Mr Dillon. Do we have a mover? Councillor Tassari, a seconder. Councillor Temby, thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm satisfied that our officers have gone out and procured the best deal possible for Bass Coast, so I'm happy to put forward this recommendation.
Thank you, Councillor Tassari.
That's supported.
Thank you, Councillor Temby. Anyone wish to speak? Put that to the vote. All those in favour? That's carried. Thank you, councillors. 8.9. Mr Dillon to introduce the report.
Thank you, and through the Mayor, the report recommends Council adopts its meeting schedule for 2026 in accordance with the governance rules. The proposed schedule follows the same meeting schedule as has been in place in 2025 and includes meeting held in both Montague and Cowes. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr Dillon. Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Morgan, Councillor Thompson, thank you. Councillor Morgan?
It's procedural, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Thompson?
Ditto.
Thank you. Any councillor wish to speak? Put that to the vote. All those in favour? That's carried. Thank you. 8.10, Mr Dillon, you're on fire today.
Thank you, and through the Mayor, I'm glad I've got some water beside me. The purpose of this report is to appoint councillors delegates to the Audit and Risk Committee. Appointments to the remainder of the Council Committee and external committees will be made at the December Council meeting.
Thank you, Mr Dillon. Do I have a mover? Councillor Temby, Councillor Thompson. Any Councillor Temby wish to speak?
Procedural, thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Thompson.
Same, thank you.
Thank you. Any councillor wish to speak?
Madam Mayor, if I can, I'd love to be able to come back at something with Councillor Temby. Last time I said it was procedural, he hit me right between the eyes. But I've got nothing.
All those in favour of the recommendation? Carried. Thank you, councillors. Oops, I think I've missed a page. 8.11, Independent Membership Audit and Risk Committee. Mr Dillon, thank you.
Thank you, and through the Mayor, the purpose of this report is to acknowledge and thank Mr Bruce Portier for his tenure on Council's Audit and Risk Committee and establishing a panel to progress recruitment of a new independent committee member.
Thank you, Mr Dillon. Do I have a mover? Councillor Tassari, a seconder, Councillor Temby. Councillor Tassari wish to speak?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And being a member of the Audit and Risk Committee and working with Bruce for a few meetings, he's incredible knowledge and it's a big loss to see him go. He's one of those ones that thinks outside the square and really digs deep forensically into any reports moving forward. So he's been fantastic for Bass Coast Shire Council. I thank him for his work that he's done and I reiterate he's a loss to our council.
Thank you, Councillor Tassari. Councillor Temby?
And to add to that, for point 2, that's an appropriate group to conduct that panel.
Thank you, Councillor Temby. Anyone else wish to speak to the vote? Councillor Tassari?
No, put it to a vote.
All those in favour? That's carried, thank you. 8.12, Instruments of Appointment and Authorisation. Mr Dillon.
Thank you, and through the Mayor, the purpose of this report is to authorise the named officers under the Planning and Environment Act 1987.
Thank you, Mr Dillon. Do I have a mover? Councillor Thompson, a seconder. Councillor Morgan. Wish to speak, Councillor Thompson?
No, I just wish to move it, please. I'm happy to see some new councillors coming, new officers coming in. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Thompson. Councillor Morgan?
Nothing further to add.
Nothing from around the table. All those in favour? That's carried. Thank you, councillors. I know it's a long meeting, councillors. Smile. We're all looking a bit tired, aren't we?
It's even been 2 hours yet.
I know. Item 9, statutory reports. Informal meeting of councillors. Can I have a mover for the motion, please? Councillor Bauer, seconder. Councillor Temby. You wish to speak, Councillor Bauer?
No, it's that statutory. No, I don't.
Procedural?
Yep.
Yep. Thank you. Councillor Temby, happy? All those in favour? Thank you. That's carried. 9.2, Planning and Building Statistics. Can I have a mover of the motion, please? Councillor Morgan, seconded Councillor Thompson. Procedural.
I think it just goes to show how well we're doing in our planning department and why we should retain our powers as a local government.
Well done. Thank you,
Yes.
Councillor Morgan. Councillor Thompson.
I totally confer. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Thompson. Any other councillor wish to speak to the planning and building stats? All those in favour of the recommendation? That's carried. Thank you. 9.3. Contracts awarded and/or extended under CEO delegation for September 2025. Do I have a mover of the recommendation? Councillor Thompson. A seconder? Councillor Temby. Councillor Thompson, did you have anything you wish to
No,
say?
put it to the vote.
Procedural?
Thank you.
Councillor Temby,
No.
to the vote. All those in favour? Carried, thank you. 9.4, councillor allowances and expenses for the council term 11th of November 24 to 30th of September 25. Do I have a mover, please? Councillor Tassari, seconder. Councillor Morgan, do you wish to speak, Councillor Tassari?
No, Madam Mayor.
Councillor Morgan.
Yeah, this one is broadly procedural, but I should just say that there will be an increase, I think, to all allowances, including the mayor and deputy mayor, and that we don't take our jobs for granted.
Thank you, Councillor Morgan. Do any other councillors wish to add? Put that to the vote, Councillor Tassari.
Happy to, Madam Mayor.
Those in favour?
Jump the gun.
Yeah, very eager on this one.
All right, item 10 on the agenda, urgent business, of which we have none. So we'll move to item 11. The announcement of the next council meeting will be held on the 10th of December 2025 at Wonthaggi Civic Centre Council Chamber, right where we are today, commencing at 1 p.m. Members of the public may now join the councillors for an informal chat. Thank you for watching the live stream on Council's meeting. The meeting will now be closed at 2:55 p.m. We could remain seated and wait for the control room, please.